Good afternoon. I'm on the next story for the Many Windows workshop, and it's all about community. And this one is called Deepa Lights Against the Darkness. Now, remember I told you about how when I'm writing a story about another culture, especially another religious tradition, I try to focus on things that we have in common because as a Muslim, I cannot really promote something that is against my beliefs. But what I do believe, and what is part of my beliefs, what is part of Islam, is respecting other religious traditions. And even if there are traditions that go against fundamental principles of our religious tradition, we still have to respect them. There's actually a verse in the Quran where it says that, "O you who believe, don't laugh at other people in case they turn around and they laugh at you when they say bad things about God and His Messenger." Okay, so as Muslims, we're supposed to be foremost in terms of respecting other religious traditions. And unfortunately, looking at my fellow Muslims, that's not always the case. Sometimes you see Muslims behaving very badly and not being very tolerant. Now, tolerant, that's the T word, okay? A lot of people look at tolerance as being something that's negative, that, oh, I tolerate you. But I have a very different look on a different approach to tolerance. I think when it comes to society and community, tolerance is basically all that you should ask for. Because the fact is, we come from different religious traditions, we come from different backgrounds and cultures. And within North America, we are a diverse society, which includes all kinds of people from different ideas. And what really binds us are the laws of our local government. And our laws of our local government tend to be pretty enlightened. I mean, I live in Canada, and the laws basically respect, and even American laws respect the right of any individual to pursue happiness and live their life according to the religion that they want, that they believe in. Religious liberty is really important, and it's one of the reasons why many people from all over the world flock to Western countries because of the freedom, the opportunity, and just the ability to be yourself. You know, we can be ourselves. Now, the problem with that is that you're going to see other people living their lives in different ways, dressing in different ways, like, you know, dressing in different ways and acting in different ways. And there's a kind of an innate kind of a feeling in a lot of people where they kind of think, well, how come they're acting like that? And we want to believe our own belief system is the best, which is everybody's like that. Everybody believes that. I mean, why else would you believe in it if you didn't think it was the best, right? So when you see other people who challenge that, the temptation is to get a little bit insecure and think, well, you know, how come they're not thinking like I should? They should be like me. They should be like me. And the thing is that no, diversity diversity is actually a beautiful thing. Let people be the way they want. And even in Islam, like also in the Quran, it says clearly that there should be no compulsion in matters of religion. Okay, so when it came to this story, this one is about Diwali. Now remember, each of the stories focuses on a different religious tradition. And one of the things that I admire the most when teachers do this, because teachers are also about community and they're trying to raise students, they're trying to develop students that can be respectful of other cultural backgrounds. So one of the things they've started doing is if there's a child in their class who's Hindu or Muslim or Buddhist, when it's time for their festival, when it's time for their a cultural tradition like Ramadan or Diwali or Buddha's birthday, they'll get that child to come to the front and share their experience with the rest of the class. And that's kind of what we're doing in Many Windows, because each of the kids is talking about their religious celebration. And in doing that, you don't have to agree with it. Okay, what they do is what they do. And we can admire it, we can respect it, and we can appreciate it. You don't have to agree with it. And if you're secure in your own identity and your own faith, why should it matter what other people do? Let them do what they want, right? So, in writing this one, I couldn't because Islam, the biggest thing about Islam is that the worst sin is ascribing partners. It's like idol worship and stuff like that. And Diwali has that in there. So I couldn't write about it. But this is where my friend Uma Krishnaswami came in came in with her strengths, and she was able to write this story. And in deeper depths, this story is about how people come and go within a community. And in her missing her friend Bani, Deepa misses her friend Bani, and she's talking about this because of this Diwali tradition that they have. It gives the idea of how people come and go. And Bani's exit from this little community has allowed space in their little basketball thing. Like right now they're at odd. There's five of them, but it's allowed space for someone else to join. And think about who I'm talking about. Okay, now I'm going to read the story to you, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about also how this is also building the story arc. Now we haven't seen TJ from since the beginning story, but this is all. Remember, each of the stories underneath each of the stories, it's about TJ and about this boy, this bullyish kid who's come to this very ideal community, and he's got this decision of whether he's going to socialize and mix in and let go of the past behavior and change. Okay, so that's what this story is really about. Now, Deepa, Lights Against the Darkness by Uma Krishnaswami. Deepa's friend Bonnie has moved away with her family. She was the sixth in their basketball group, but now they have to play uneven. And now it's almost Diwali. Ever since kindergarten, Diwali has been a day when Deepa and Bonnie have played together, planned together, been together. Not anymore. And to make matters worse, Bonnie didn't even tell Deepa about moving away until the week before it happened. Deepa can hardly bear the little angry fires that stir in her at the thought. No one understands, not even Deepa's friends in school. Jamil says, it's not like she had a choice. Benjamin nods. Natalie says, we miss her too, but we're not mad at her. Stephanie says, she's your friend. How long can you stay mad at a friend? Mom doesn't get it either. I'm sure you're missing Vani, Mom says. It's natural to miss a friend who's moved away. I am not, says Deepa. I am not a bit missing that Bani. Why, she knew for weeks she was moving before she even thought to tell me. What kind of friend would do that? An unfriend, Deepa says to herself. She is pleased with the word unfriend. She swishes it around in her mind. Unfriend, unfriend. As Mom and the aunties make puffed up round puris and spicy potatoes, twirly jalebi and sweet milky kheer, Deepa grows a mood as deep and dark as a late fall sky before the stars come out. And the puris and the potatoes don't taste as good as they always have done on other Diwalis. When cousins ring the doorbell and burst in crying, Happy Diwali! Deepa mumbles back. But who, she thinks, will light a round clay diya this year to place on the other side of the step from mine? What's the matter with my favorite niece? Renu auntie tries to cheer Deepa up. Such a long face on Diwali day. Long face, Deepa's cousins tease and breeze around the kitchen, pretending to pull each other's faces into shapes. Deepa thinks of throwing her juggling bean bags at them, but she knows who will get scolded then. She thinks, what if I could freeze time and then night wouldn't come and I wouldn't have to worry about it? Aren't you going to call your best friend Bonnie? Asks Dad. How can you say a thing like that? My worst friend, says Deepa. Why should I call her? Diwali is a good time to make up if you've had disagreements, says Mom. Deepa pretends she hasn't heard. But when the aunties sing and the uncles clap and the cousins joke and the evening comes down, Deepa thinks, well, just suppose the phone rang. It won't. But just suppose. Then I could run and pick it up. Her mind is filled with maybes. Not that it would be my unfriend, of course not, but what's so wrong about thinking what if? When the cousins clown and joke, Deepa even forgets and laughs a little, but in her mind there is that step, and no diya across it to match hers. A diya is a little clay lamp that's got a little candle kind of thing in it. Everyone goes out to draw rangoli designs on the front steps. White swirls fill with red and green, dots and stars, and the neighbors come to see. I love your Festival of Lights, says Mrs. Williams. Can I try my hand at that rice flower design? While everyone's busy, Deepa listens for the phone in case someone should call. Not that she is expecting anyone to, but you never know. It doesn't ring. Time to put the diyas out, says Mom. She fills the little clay lamps with oil and makes sure the wicks are nicely soaked. Deepa, she says, you're the youngest one here. You get to put the first one out. Careful, I'll help you light it. And Deepa shakes her head because the words have gone away. You can't just put out one diya, she wants to say. They always go in pairs. She doesn't have a partner now that her unfriend is not here. A grown-up could do it for her, sure, or one of the silly cousins, but it wouldn't be the same. She does not trust herself to say all this, so she frowns and says nothing. Mom and Dad look at each other worried. This is not a good thing to happen on Diwali day. Deepa feels like crying, but you really shouldn't cry on Diwali. It's a good day, and you don't spoil good days by crying. The diyas flicker, waiting. Deepa wonders if diyas are flickering yet in Bani's new home in the city she's moved to with her parents. Even though Bani went away and didn't tell her until just the week before, the angry little fire inside Deepa grows smaller and begins to fizzle. She thinks, well, what if? And she thinks, why not? The first stars of evening blink on in the sky like tiny firecrackers. Deepa thinks, maybe. Mom gets ready to take the tray of diyas out to the front step, and Deepa thinks, oh, all right. She runs to the telephone. It rings. Deepa jumps. Could it be? But it's only Stephanie from school. I just called to wish you a happy holiday, she says. What's it called again? Diwali, Deepa says. Did you call her yet? Asks Stephanie. Deepa is light with relief. You know, I think I'm going to. After Stephanie hangs up, Deepa pushes the buttons for her unfriend Vani's new phone number that's on a bright sticky note on the fridge. She says, hello. Then she finds herself stumbling over the things she's trying to say to Bani, like, I miss you. While she's losing the words she'd meant to say, Deepa hears something surprising. On the other end, Bani, her unfriend, is stumbling over those very same words. Deepa listens. Then she says, you never told me you were going, almost until it was time for you to go. That wasn't very friendly. Bonnie says, I didn't want to go. You don't think I missed the way we'd pick and roll the ball from Benjamin? Deepa laughs. He still can't see it coming. Bonnie carries on. I wanted to stay and go to your house for Diwali and put a diya across the step from yours to match it, just the way we've done every single year since we were little. It made me feel so bad inside. I couldn't even talk. Oh, says Deepa, she knows that feeling. And it's Diwali, says Bani, and I can't do the diyas because you're not here and I'm not there. I know, says Deepa, finding words at last. Me too. The phone line is so silent that Deepa can hear Bani's family on the other end talking and laughing. And Bani can surely hear Mom and Dad and the aunties and uncles and cousins and Mrs. Williams, whose husband has now also come over to see the lighting of the lamps. Then a flame lights up in Deepa. She knows what they need to do. Put out 2 diyas, she says, one for you and one for me, and I'll do the same here. It takes her breath away for just a moment that she has thought of such a brilliant idea. Bonnie says, oh yes, why didn't I think of that? Then she says, I'm so glad you're still my friend. Me too, says Deepa. Happy Diwali. No time to waste. Deepa hurries out. She sets out 2 diyas. 1, then 2. Slow and steady. She keeps her eye on the flames. Behind her, Mom breathes. Careful now. 1 for her and 1 for Bani. Far away as Bani is, she'll be putting 2 diyas out too, just like this. 1 for her and 1 for Deepa. Stephanie is right. You can't stay mad forever. You can't freeze time, but you can't ignore its passing either. And what's the point of turning a friend into an unfriend? The diyas burn, fierce little lights against the darkness. Finally, it feels like Diwali. Now, don't you just feel like you were part of it, the story? I mean, the whole reason I wrote Many Windows, I did most of the stories, and I got Eliza and Uma involved. Like I said before, the whole reason was to show how people can be friends despite their differences. Now, like I said before in this presentation, you don't have to agree with people, but you can appreciate them where they are. We can all appreciate them. And And what we're finding all over the world is that people are getting more and more hostile. They're getting more and more difficult. There's all kinds of stuff going on, and some of it's coming from the leadership. And unfortunately, in times like this, when we have leaders that are fomenting is a fancy word where they're encouraging violence and and racism within the community, we need to fight that with goodness and with positivity. Okay, and that's actually why I wrote Many Windows. Now, so Bonnie has left, and that's all you really see of Bonnie. Deepa shows up in some of the other stories, but you get an idea of Deepa's character, of her personality, and she's going to show up in one of the other stories. All these characters are going to show up later on. We're building towards a climax, like a story has rising action, and this is a major story, major thing. Again, there's this idea that people come and go. So TJ has come into this community, and there's a vacancy in their little basketball 3-on-3. Okay, and yeah, it's going to be TJ who's going to hopefully fill that. So we're building up. What I'll do at the end is I will read the nonfiction pieces about each of the stories, because like I said, each of the stories is about a religious celebration. So what we did to include, we actually included nonfiction pieces about each of the celebrations. There's one on Eid, there's one on Diwali, there's one on Buddha's birthday, and the next story is going to be the Hanukkah story. And guess who wrote that? I did. And I actually wrote it during Ramadan, which was kind of weird. But I had such fun writing the Hanukkah story. And that one's called Dreidels. And I will do that probably in a couple of days. Thank you so much for listening, and stay strong.